Amityville, 1992. It's about time. What a title we've got here. So, continuing with the Amityville franchise, it's time. It's time for this movie. All right, so this one is a huge step up from the last movie. Curse is by far the worst of the actual franchise before it started just becoming a name only kind of thing where it was Amityville freaking theater or Amityville freaking strip club. There's so many of these damn Amityville movies that came out after this initial franchise ended, and it was just in name only, having the name Amityville on it. So that being said, I think I'd watch Amityville Strip Club over some of the other entries in this franchise, especially Curse. Oh my god, Curse is so bad. But this one, so we've moved into the cursed object phase of the franchise. And I have to say, this is directed by the director of Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, which, that's impressive. And the atmosphere in this movie is very eccentric, very off-putting, in a good way. It's a very odd little movie. It's alright. It's an okay movie. The last one is just so dreadfully awful that I cannot bring myself to even give it a compliment in any way, shape, or form. But this one, this is like a direct to VHS, early 90s horror franchise sequel. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think it's worth a watch. I enjoyed parts of it. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I have to say. I'll say it's definitely better than 3, 4, and Curse. So of the 6 now that I've watched, this is the 6th one. This is the 3rd best. So it'd be like Amityville 2, Amityville 1, and then this. This isn't bad. So I was kind of impressed with it when I watched it this time. I was like, all right, there's some good stuff going on in here. It's got a good director from Hellraiser 2, and then it's got a good makeup effects team in Greg Nicotero and Kurtzman. So I saw that and I was like, oh wow, they got a freaking badass effects team here. And their effects are, they use them decently in here. There's not a ton of gore or anything, but, the dad's leg gets messed up, and there's a dog attack scene, and then there's some really cool stuff where she starts chopping into the walls at the end, and the walls have, the house is kind of turned into a clock. I thought that was really cool. And I really liked to see the insides of the home and how the clock had kind of morphed itself into the house. How it kind of had been just bleeding out into the house. I like that a lot. I think that was super cool. So, when he brings the clock home, the woman from down the street that is friends with Rusty and is into the occult or whatever's going on with her, she sees these flashes, which shows her the Amityville house, and this is where he acquired it because they tore down that house in his business dealings. I guess they got a hold of those properties, and now the house is torn down. So who knows at this point? The franchise, it cannot decide on what it even wants to do with the original house. It doesn't want to show it outside of a quick flash here in the movie. But yeah, it blows up in one. It's just it won't be lived in, and they have like an estate sale in another, like, and then the next one they don't even mention it. So this one they tore it down, so now there's no house anymore. But I'm sure in the next one it'll be miraculously back. So who the f knows? The Rusty character, Rusty the son, I liked him. I liked the little kid. He reminded me. It's not, but it looked. He looks like Dean Winters to me, to like a young Dean Winters, which is funny because Dean Winters is the star of Hellraiser 6. So at first I was like, is that a young Dean Winters? And then I was like, 92? No, Dean Winters would already be in like his 30s or 40s by this point. So no, but it does look like him. And I like the actor. I like the kid. This is the last thing he ever did. He did some stuff before it, but this was his last credit. And I think that's kind of a bummer. I like him. He's kind of like that metalhead surfer kid. Whoa, bro, totally evil. I don't know. I dug him. The two chicks in this, the girlfriend and the daughter, who seem like they're almost identically the same age. I guess you got the. I don't want to say they're rich, but they're definitely well off. Like they're not struggling. Let's just say that. So you've got a really wealthy older dude who's kind of got his trophy side thing, and I can only assume that he left his wife for her or something was going on there, and she was dating him for a while, lived at the house, because yeah, the daughter and the chick Andrea, they're both hot, man, super hot. Both pretty damn young. I'd say Andrea's probably like in her like early 20s, and then or not Andrea, the daughter's name, shit, I can't remember what her name is, but she's, yeah, probably early 20s, and then Andrea's probably like early 30s. So they're like a decade difference. They're really close in age, and they're both very attractive women. And yeah, I liked them both. I liked all the characters for the most part. The dad's kind of a dickhead, and then the psychotherapist that she's dating, which is such a weird thing going on here. The whole relationship in this movie is whacked. Not to say it isn't semi-realistic to life. There's all sorts of whacked relationships out there, but it is a very whacked relationship. And we actually do get to see Andrea's tits in this, and they're very nice. So we do get some boobage, very mild. It's like a full side boob. So it's not a side boob where you don't see nipple. It's an actual like side boob with full nip, which is nice. But not any dead on shots. And then the daughter has a scene where she actually starts like finger banging herself, because it's not just her masturbating. Otherwise I would just be like, oh, she's masturbating. No, it's like a mirror image of herself, kind of like an Evil Dead 2 Ash in the mirror kind of thing, but herself, her own reflection, just starts like finger banging her. And it's actually a really, really hot scene, I have to be honest. And they keep like teasing that she's gonna break open her top, and it like gets really close, and she just keeps pulling it apart, and it just never comes undone. And you're like, oh, come on, man, you're killing me. It's about time for you to show me some shit. I'm gonna continue to keep using that joke throughout this show. But yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's about time for you guys to stop teasing me with this gorgeous woman's breasticles. And then right when the clock is put up, it kind of drills itself into the house, and then it just starts to work its way into the house. Rusty comes down and he flips the switch, and it like changes in between alternate dimensions. I thought freaking Bill the electrician from House 2 was gonna show up and be like, we're gonna need to see I'm gonna need you to come over here now. I love Bill, man. One of the greatest characters ever. It's just such an odd, random movie, but fuck, I love it. I love that film so much. But yeah, alternate dimensions, keeps flipping the light switch on and off, and it just keeps switching between the Amityville house where this clock originally was, and then back to their house. Boom, 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 boom. Which I thought was cool, because this movie plays with time a lot. And I dig it. I think it's really cool the way that it plays with time in this, and we'll get a little bit more into that in a minute. But him switching it, flipping it. I'm not really exactly sure what time period this clock and this alternate dimension is from, because this ain't no DeFeo house. This ain't no, the family in Amityville 1 or the oh, what the fuck is their names? The Lutz family. It's not anything from that time period. This looks old school. This looks like 1800s or something. I don't know what it is. How long has that house been around? Was that like the original owners? I don't know. But yeah, that was pretty cool. But it just didn't match up with whatever was supposed to be happening there. But I like that they are trying to say like that the house has been possessed well before the DeFeo murders. That place has always had a curse on it with the whatever the hell was going on there. So yeah, this definitely looks older for sure when they do the flashbacks. And Rusty's just such that typical kid you want to punch in the face. Like, good night, Rusty. Whatever. Goodbye, Rusty. Whatever. Oh, whatever. Whatever is like fuck you in teenager. And I just, when you're a teenager, you don't realize it as much. You're doing it, but you don't really care, of course. And when you're told that as a kid, you're just like, whatever. It's got your response to everything. But when you start to get older, when you start to get, when you start to have your own kids and you start dealing with teens, God, it just makes you immediately regret so many decisions you made when you were a kid. Like, especially a teenager. Like, whatever. Just fucking whatever. Oh, it's the worst. Whatever. Whatever is like my least favorite word to ever say to anything. Unless I'm like being overly dramatic and trying to be comedic. Like when someone says something, I'm like, oh, come on, whatever. Like something like that. That's more like jokey, but like in a, as I said, kind of a fuck you way. Like, I don't want to talk to you, or you say something to me and I have no rebuttal. I have no retort of any sort. Then I kind of just, that's like your default. I've got nothing, but I'm still going to try to feel like I have edge. Like I have, something witty that I'm just holding back. Bullshit. You just don't have anything and you don't really know how to express yourself. Whatever. Ugh. It's the worst. It's the worst. I would rather the kid turn around, no shit, and be like, you know what? Fuck you. I don't know. For some reason, to me, that would at least not be, passive aggressive nonsense and just dismissal. Just pure dismissal. Like, give me your passion, give me your attention, give me something. But just like a straight up dismissal walking out the door, whatever. Oh, it's so disrespectful. It's such a gross word. People get really offended by like cunt and all these other words, and I'm like, dude, whatever, trumps all of that stuff. Just, of course, depending on who it's coming from and the tonality of it and all that stuff. But you know what I'm talking about. The Peaches scene. So Peaches attacks millions of peaches. So, yeah, he's running. He goes on his run. Of course, he asks Andrea to stay the night, and she's like, oh, but I have a boyfriend. And he's like, yeah, talking about the guys because he knows him. He was their therapist. And, man, she's like screwing married men. She's screwing freaking her own therapist. She's breaking all the rules, but whatever. But, yeah, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. She's like, no, I don't want to stay. He knows how she feels about him, but things didn't work out because of whatever reasons. That's, whatever happened there. But then he's like, just stay. I'll be a perfect gentleman. While he just keeps inching and inching closer. That's such mindfuckery, cheap shit to pull on somebody. Like, that she has no willpower with you. and you exploit that. When she's trying to have a relationship outside of you, she's doing you a favor, she's coming over and she's babysitting your children, even though these kids are so old that you do not need to babysit them. I mean, as I said, the daughter's in her 20s easily, but I think realistically they're supposed to be like 15, 16, and 17 or something like that. Come on. Like, I get it, like maybe check in on them, but do they need like a stay in, sleep over babysitter? Like, come on. No. Ridiculous. But regardless, I just think that's further part of the manipulation. Like, oh, I need you, come over, spend the night, and then when I get home, it'll be too late, and I don't want you to leave because of the weather outside. Get the fuck out of here. And then, yeah, of course, cuts to the next scene, and she's on top of him going to town, and it's like, of course, man. She loves you, she's into you, she wants to be with you, but clearly you're just not the right guy for her for whatever reason. And it's just, yeah, shitty manipulation stuff. And I think that this movie could be, I've said this with a lot of them, and I usually don't get all symbolic or subtextual or metaphorical with movies, especially movies like this that are like straight to VHS kind of 90s sequel throwaway stuff. But I feel like almost this film is like a metaphor for their breakup and her necessity and her desire to move on, but not being able to do so. And, you know, the line at the end, I was going to save this for the end, but because we're on it, like, we're on it, I'm on it, whatever. She kind of, you know, she says it like outright. That's the title of the film, you know. And she turns and she's like, it's about time. And she walks out on him. Like, it's about time for me to leave you. That's it. I've had it. Like, I'm not getting entangled in this bullshit anymore. I don't want it. I'm done. I'm moving on. And she leaves and no one gets hurt because of it anymore. The son isn't hurt anymore. The daughter isn't hurt anymore. The neighbors, the husband, all of those people aren't going to be hurt by her staying around anymore. But it's not her fault. It is and it isn't. I mean, she's an adult. She has every right and to stay, and it's her decisions and all that, of course. But there is a different factor to it. Not everything's so fucking black and white like people try to make it out to be. So at the end of the day, this ultimately leads her to something that she can't do herself. She really is gone. She really is not coming back. And maybe he won't understand that. And Rusty and the daughter and the neighbors, and of course they'll never know that they actually died. Or did they? Or did she have some premonition? Or who knows? But regardless, it did push her out of the house. Maybe I'm giving this movie way more credit than it deserves in that regard. But, you know, nonetheless, I did take that away from the ending when she walked out. And I was like, oh, it's about time. Like, I almost like ironically said the line back to the movie. Like, it's about time this bitch left. Bitch. She's not a bitch. It's about time this chick left. And it's like, yes. Like, good for you, you know? I don't know why I said that. I never call women bitches. That was gross. I'd edit that out, but that's not how I do things. Ugh. Gross. Talk about whatever, though. Whatever. Whatever. I forgive myself. I forgive myself because I know I'm not that person. So, anyway. Peaches is decapitated, and then a swastika is painted up on the garage. That's some brutal shit, man. Fuck. And of course, you know, it's related to the dude who says your dog attacked him and smashed his face. And that's a great sequence when the dogs get, you know, attacking him and he's just like taking a broken bottle to the dog's face. It's a gnarly scene. But here comes the accusations at the doorstep, and then the dog ends up decapitated. And it's a creepy sequence. I really like the way that's shot, where the dog comes at him and the neighbor lady is just standing there and just lets the dog off the leash. And the sounds are even kind of muted, so the sound editing, and that's pretty cool. I dig that sequence. It's almost nightmarish. This whole film kind of has that nightmarish feel to it. So I dig it. I dig the direction. I dig the atmosphere throughout. And, oh man, one of the scenes that really annoyed me and got under my skin, this more personal kind of stuff, but when the cops come over to question Rusty and his family, and they do the whole, well, we know you come from a nice family. What does that even mean? I hate that shit. There's so many kids that get away with nonsense that no other kid would get away with because they came from a quote unquote bad family or bad neighborhood or whatever. Like, we know you come from a nice family. You see that in every movie where the dude's like accused of rape. And then they're like, well, we know he's a good kid. We know he comes from a good family. So, you know, we'll look past this. And you know, she comes from the wrong side of the tracks and she can't be trusted. Or unfortunately, it's a realistic thing. It does happen. It happens, unfortunately, a lot. And it's like, oh, well, you know, judges will throw that shit out of there. Oh, it looks like here that you know you come from a good family and you've never had a mess up before. And it's like, what does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. Is he guilty or is he isn't? Like, leniency is fine, but make sure you have leniency on the kid who comes from the bad family as well. Oh, what, his dad's in jail, so he's just a criminal by proxy? Like, get the fuck out of here. So, like, when he said that in the movie, I was like, oh, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? But I'm the asshole who, you know, I always get myself into too many places I shouldn't, or I should say, too many situations I shouldn't be in because I just can't stand blatant hypocrisy or you know, double standards or obvious bullshit. I could get into stories right now, but I don't want to because it's going to take too long. We're already too much into it. And then B, because I'll probably just get accused of making it up. I made it up. We got a Dick Miller cameo here, which was kind of cool to see. The dude who the daughter brings home and ultimately kills in the basement, although I guess no one dies in this film because it's all undone. But the dude that she's gonna date, I hope that whatever happened in this reset of events does not lead her to ever dating or touching this guy. He pulls up to her house. Something is clearly going on there with the cops and whatnot. She gets out of the car to frantically go check, like, holy shit, someone might be hurt. And his response is, what? No goodnight kiss? Done, gone, never again, gone. Just fucking, like, never speak to this human being again. Jesus Christ. What a piece of shit. And then when she brings him over and he's in the house and she's, you know, seducing him, and even though it's so evident he doesn't end up getting laid, but what are the odds of what happens happening? So in that very unlikely scenario, this guy's clearly going to get laid by this total fucking babe who's giving this kid a wet dream that he never thought possible before. You know, hide and seek and coming in and she's wearing this incredible fucking cute ass little bits of underwear and then she throws his jacket on. So hot. And he's sitting there and he's so impatient. Like, I get it, dude. Trust me. I get it. You want to fuck her. I get it. We all do. But it's just the way he talks to her. It's the way he's so entitled. It's the way he feels like, oh, it should be mine now. He's not even grateful about it. Anything. Oh, no, goodnight kiss. Fuck. Oh, I want to smash him. But whatever. I'm not gonna drop the whatever thing tonight, I guess. The psychologist in this movie, I just want to smash this guy. This guy throughout, like, what a weird situation. So she's cheating on her boyfriend with the dad, with the husband of the house. Or I guess he's not a husband. He's not married to anybody. The wife's dead, so he's a widower. So she's fucking this guy, but then sleeping in the house after. Her psychology boyfriend, who knows this was her ex-boyfriend, comes over to the house. Why would he come over? A, because what? She wants him to have a heart-to-heart, talk to the family, this and that, but then he's spending the night and he's fucking her in the house? What? He's spending the night and having sex? Like, he's like all getting jealous and then fucks her in the house? What? No. What? It's such an awkward situation. You're fucking her in the house and then staying, and then he comes down in some like lame ass robe and he's like in the kitchen. You're just asking to get a freaking Walter freaking, you know, PP7. Yeah, this is a James Bond gun, but whatever freaking version of the Walther this gun is, this. What do you expect, man? You come into this house and you're freaking sleeping with this chick who used to be this guy's girlfriend, and here you are in a freaking bathrobe in his kitchen. Yes, I guess. And then it's like, did these sequences happen? What happened with the dog? What happened with Peaches? Did that happen? In what context? In which way? Did he make it up? Did he attack himself? Like, did this guy envision all of these things? Being attacked in the bathtub, being attacked in the kitchen? Like, what was all of that? It was just mindfuckery. But it couldn't have happened to a better person, because that guy just sucked. The way that he was like forcibly imposing his, expert opinion on everything. Like, I definitely have been known to assert myself into knowing it all when it comes to relationship advice and this and that. But the way that this guy is going about it, he's just so cocksure, and it feels like forced arrogance. And I just want to smash the guy the whole time. It just, something about him just irritates me. It just gets under my skin, and I had no problem watching him get, a gun pulled on him, attacked in the bathroom, and ultimately loses his life. Just everything that happens to him, I'm just like, I feel no sympathy for you. You just suck. I just don't like you. And so, yeah, he's not winning me over in this movie at all. The neighbor lady getting chased down by the van, and then the duck up on top impales her. That is one sharp beak, man. I don't know what the hell they made that thing out of, but I guess it was like freaking vibranium or adamantium or something. That shit went straight through her. Wouldn't even think that thing would have enough weight to fall and actually fully impale her. But of course she coughs up blood instantly, which is the horror movie trope of tropes. I always laugh every time I see it. And then I like how the daughter, once she jerks herself off and she's like experienced an orgasm. I don't know, is this the first orgasm she's ever had? Is she like a goody two shoes girl up until that point, until the mirror fucking finger blasts her? But then she comes downstairs and she's like super trashy girl. After that, she like has her hair all smutty, and she's walking out wearing barely anything. And I guess this is just the house kind of taking over. But yeah, she gets off once, and then she's just like, I better go out and try to lure some men in, because I need it bad. Although she doesn't end up getting anything from anybody. Although she does try to seduce her brother, which kind of harkens back to Amityville too. But I like that Lisa, there's her name, Lisa. She seduces the dude, and he falls into like this freaking blob creature thing in the basement. I don't know if it's a creature or if it's supposed to be just like quicksand blob monster, or I guess I keep calling it a monster, but it's like a blob thing. What the fuck is this shit, Poncho? Like, I don't know what it is, but it kind of reminds me of the raft thing. But yeah, it eats him straight down into the ground. We find a dollhouse in this movie, which kind of reminds me of Amityville Dollhouse, which I'm really looking forward to. But this is of the original home, which I think is the same in Amityville Dollhouse. I thought that was a really cool dollhouse in the movie. Kind of reminded me of the one in Nightmare 4. Nightmare 4. Fuck, it's been a little while. 4. Not super familiar with that franchise. The sequels, like anything past 2, I've only seen maybe 5 times or less. Like I haven't seen those a lot. So the Nightmare franchise kind of blends. I think that's 4 though. Pretty sure. Yeah, that's Dream Master, right? Dream Warriors, Dream Master, Dream Child, and then Freddy's Dead. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one. All right, anyway. Although it could be the third one. Might be. Fuck. Actually, I think it might be. God dang it. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Moving on. And then, yeah, I like that the therapist is hanged right outside the house as she finds the hanged doll next to the dollhouse. I thought that was cool. Also, like that the cops come to the door and they can't see her or hear that she's smashing on the other side of it, so the house actually can manipulate sound and images because they look through the window and they see nothing in the house, even though she's sitting right there in front of them. I think it is a missed opportunity to actually show what they're seeing, so they could have peeked through and there was nothing there in front of them. The house looks completely normal inside, and then inside the house would have been torn up and she would have been like right in front of the light. I think that would have been a really cool thing. So we don't get to see it from their perspective very well. And I think it would have been cool to get an actual, like, almost POV shot inside the house. It would have added to the eeriness of, like, how screwed she was. The brother electrocutes Lisa. You know, Rusty electrocutes Lisa in this. And I mean, in this situation, it's an impossible situation. So I don't want to be like, well, what I'd do. But I would hope that what I would do is when it comes to your loved ones, yes, some intruder you don't know, kill him. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. But your blood, especially when Rusty has kind of been investigating this the whole time and he knows the house is responsible, that the house is evil, stuff like that. That's when you try to keep your family members, your loved ones alive, because you could break the curse ultimately. You don't stick a fucking electrical cord into her mouth and shock her body to death, because that's her physical body. Like, once you kill that, you can't just bring her back. Like, she's dead and you just killed your sister. They could have just cut Reagan's head off in The Exorcist and called it a day, but they wanted to save her. So, if you ever find yourself in that position where the house is possessed and it's taking control of people in the house that you love, try your best to subdue them, incapacitate them, tie them up. Don't kill them. Try not to kill them. It's a bad move. So shame on you, Rusty. You should not have tried to kill didn't try. He did kill his sister. Good thing that it was undone. She tries to smash the clock, so she keeps going and hitting around it because it has like a protection spell of sorts on it. And then that's when you see the shit inside the walls, which is a really cool shot. Reminded me of Oculus when they keep trying to break the mirror, but they're just hitting right off to the left or the right of it because their like brains will not allow themselves to actually see it how it is. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And then Rusty becomes a little baby because it can manipulate time, and then Andrea becomes an old lady, like really, really super old. And then she opens up the gas main, and just with like the last bit of strength she has in her old woman body, she lights it up, and the house, goes up in flame. But then boom, it cuts back. So I guess the clock can't allow itself to be destroyed in that moment, but then it so easily allows itself to be destroyed not a minute later. Like, I would think that once she destroyed the clock in that last sequence, that the time should have started over again, like Groundhog Day. And then every time she does, then she would have had to have conceded that she can't beat the clock, the family's doomed, but at least she can get out, and maybe warn them, like, I can't break this clock. It's trying to kill you guys. You can believe me or not, but it's about time. Wink at the camera when she says that. She's like, it's 1992, people. It's about time. All right, Amityville. Time to go. That would have been great. I think that would have been a better ending. Just her breaking the clock, trying to figure out how to save the family, and then just ultimately realizing, like, she just has to go and hope that they'll make the right decisions from there, but she can't be a part of it anymore. And so it's like leaving it up to fate, leaving it up to their decision or something. But she has that ability to walk away. So anyway, overall, I did not expect to talk about this movie anywhere near as much time as I did, although I got into, of course, tangents and spun off, and that's the channel. So par for the course, or it's about time. All right, whatever. I'm out of here.